What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. This is such a weird story, and it just happened. I just saw this pop up on Twitter. Somebody sent this to me, Jimmy, and it's crazy. Honestly, I don't know what to think. It all has to do with Scarlett Johansson suing Disney over what happened with Black Widow. So this is odd for a number of different reasons, but I want to sort of just bring up the report. We'll go through the report together. I'll sort of talk about my feelings about it as we go through it. And yeah, then we'll just sort of make some takeaways because, I mean, frankly, guys, this is bad. Like, I don't really know how else to say it. It's really bad. And I think the just sort of knee-jerk reaction that I have to this whole situation is that if we were living in different times, nobody would do this. Nobody would sue Disney like this just because it puts future partnerships in jeopardy. There's a lot of bad things that could happen. Disney's a powerful studio, but I think that if anything, what is happening around the world right now and the entertainment industry has sort of shown that Disney is losing its grip on all of these different like institutions. People are not as friendly to Disney anymore. There's a lot of bad PR out there for Disney, and it's just interesting that Scarlett Johansson is making this move, man. This is on the Wallstreet Journal. It doesn't get more real than this. Scarlett Johansson sues Disney over Black Widow streaming release. The star alleges simultaneous release of the latest Marvel movie in theaters and on Disney Plus service was a breach of contract. Holy crap. This is so wild to me. So Black Widow has a new enemy, the Walt Disney Company. Scarlett Johansson, star of the latest Marvel movie Black Widow, filed a lawsuit Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court against Disney, alleging her contract was breached when the media giant released the film on its Disney Plus streaming service at the same time as its theatrical debut. I know what many of you are thinking in the comment section right now, but Josh, you thought that was a good move. You thought that's the future of cinema and stuff, and I still do. Sorry, Scarlett. Don't sue me. Now, let's keep reading. Ms. Johansson said in the suit that her agreement with Disney Marvel Entertainment guaranteed an exclusive theatrical release, and she's saying that her salary was based in large part on the box office performance of the film, and spoiler alert, it didn't do well. Disney couldn't be reached immediately for comment. The suit could be a bellwether for the entertainment industry. Major media companies are prioritizing their streaming services in pursuit of growth and are increasingly putting their high-value content on those platforms. Those changes have significant financial implications for actors and producers who want to ensure that growth in streaming doesn't come at their expense. This will surely not be the last case where Hollywood talent stands up to Disney and makes it clear that whatever the company may pretend, it has a legal obligation to honor its contracts, said John Berlinski, an attorney who's representing Scarlett here, okay? Disney began releasing movies simultaneously on Disney Plus and in theaters partly because of the, you know it, what I'm saying there, when theaters were closed or at limited capacity, and partly to boost its nascent service. AT&T, Warner Media, which operated the HBO Max streaming service, is following a similar strategy for its entire 2021 slate of Warner Brothers movies. Comcast Corp's NBC Universal has since followed suit with the release of The Boss Baby Family Business, both in theater and on its Peacock streaming service. Again, streaming is the future. All of these companies know this, and they have the ability to pay really smart people that see what's happening, that can read the digital tea leaves, and they are making decisions. And Hollywood is pissed. Warner Media chose to renegotiate many of its talent contracts that, like Ms. Johansson's deal with Marvel, were tied to box office performance. Warner Brothers paid more than $200 million to talent as a part of amended agreements. Ms. Johansson has been an integral part of the Marvel universe since appearing as Black Widow in Iron Man 2. Her presence has grown significantly since then as a member of the Avengers squad of heroes alongside Captain America and the Incredible Hulk. Her character died in the 2019 blockbuster Avengers Endgame, and the spin-off film in theaters now takes place before the events of that movie. According to the complaint, Ms. Johansson's representative sought to negotiate her contract after learning of the dual release strategy for Black Widow, which she said is her 9th and last Marvel movie. Disney and Marvel were unresponsive. the suit said. The decision to put the movie on Disney Plus is projected to cost Miss Johansson more than $50 million, a person familiar with the details of her contract claimed. Even before the pandemic, Miss Johansson was concerned that Black Widow could end up on Disney Plus as a part of its wide release. In 2019, Miss Johansson's representative reached out to Marvel seeking assurance that Black Widow would have a theatrical-only release, according to the complaint. Back in the freaking day, in 2019, Scarlett was trying to figure out what was going on. In March 2019, email included in the suit, Marvel chief counsel Dave Galuzzi said the release would be according to traditional theatrical model, adding, "We understand that should the plan change, we would need to discuss this with you and come to an understanding, as the deal is based on a series of very large box office bonuses." Okay, so that's literally in an email there that was coming from Disney, right? During its July 9th opening weekend, Black Widow grossed $80 million at the domestic box office and $78 million overseas, and then generated another $60 million from $30 at-home purchases on Disney Plus. I wonder if they regret bragging about how much they made on Disney Plus, because Scarlett Johansson is pissed. Hella pissed. It was the first time Disney broke out a film streaming performance in such detail. Disney shares ticketed upward on the news that Monday, so they made money on their stock price as well. That's pretty interesting. The movie's theatrical performance fell in the subsequent days more sharply than most Marvel films. Some analytics and executives in Hollywood questioned whether making the movie easy to watch at home was hurting box office results. The National Association of Theater Owners, a lobbying group of exhibitors, called the performance disappointing and anomalous. Whatever that word means, and proof that the extensive theatrical releases were the most profitable approach. Internally, some executives at Disney worried that an at-home release would tarnish the overall appeal of the Marvel brand, which had produced the biggest offerings in Hollywood over the past several years. Disney's Marvel Studios has had unprecedented success in modern-day Hollywood, releasing 24 titles that regularly collect more than $1 billion freaking dollars in the global box office sales. The movies, in turn, activate a cycle of revenue from toy sales to theme park attractions. As the franchise has grown, it has become a magnet for big stars who sign up to portray heroes and villains of Marvel movies and shows. Fascinating article. Again, that's the freaking Wallstreet Journal, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't some whatever blog website thing out there. This is the Hollywood freaking Journal, as official as it can get. And a couple of things that pop off to me right away. Like, first of all, dang, this is all happening really fast. This suit is happening while the movie is still in theaters, but just like we all know, Scarlett knows, it's over for Black Widow. It's over for Black Widow. It's never going to hit $400 million. She's not going to get bonuses and different things that were included in that. And frankly, I find it crazy that Disney replied to her in 2019, but then just changed it and didn't reply to any of her inquiries about that. And again, for her to make such a big public stink about this, it's a big deal, dude. It's a big deal. And this really all comes down. It all comes down to studios making decisions based on what they think they need to do, and Hollywood, and how Hollywood is trying to fight against these decisions. Now, look, I 100% acknowledge that many of you feel differently about this than I do. Many people think that the movie theater experience and the movie-going experience needs to be preserved at all costs, and that these studios are making bad decisions for an entire industry. I do not share that belief. I personally believe that if it weren't for Marvel Studios, Scarlett Johansson probably wouldn't have any sense of the career that she currently still enjoys. I do think that they should pay whatever was in the contract, and it's crazy that they wouldn't compensate her otherwise. But I think all of Hollywood is kind of polishing the brass on the Titanic. My personal belief is that it's just an impossible battle to win. Convenience is going to win every time. And even though the theatrical experience, I think, will still remain, it will be almost guaranteed to be permanently diminished, not only just because of what happened in 2020, but because of advances in gaming, in streaming, in YouTube content, podcasts, all of the different things that are fighting for people's attentions. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think Hollywood, which has really kind of been a sort of castle on the hill of completely out of touch people. Yeah, I don't really trust that group of people to come in and be happy about all the changes that are going to happen, that are going to cut off all of the wasteful spending in Hollywood. Now, again, let me just say, I'm not taking necessarily Disney's side in this, because it really seems, and we don't know, but it really seems like in this Wallstreet Journal article that they agreed to something and then said they would, like the dude even said, he's like, we will make sure it's chill with you, because obviously you have a lot of bonuses. And then it looks like Chapik came in and was like, nah, fam, we good. See ya. And she's like having to take legal actions. So I'm not saying Disney's in the right, but I think that she might be being pressured to make this move because of more than just what's at stake for her personally. Again, this is almost a death sentence for her professional relationship with Disney moving forward, okay? She's only doing that if there's like major incentives to do so. I don't even think she'll completely win this case. She'll probably get some more of that money back, which is great for her, for sure. But at the end of the day, she may be being pressured to do this because of Hollywood, because of a lot of other forces at play that are trying to force Disney to play ball and to be held accountable to old like ways of doing things and paradigms. Again, I'm no like simp for Disney. They do shady stuff all the time. And if this is another example of them doing shady stuff, for sure, justice should be served. Scarlett should get the check. Disney should have to, you know, disclose and change things and stuff like that. But at the same time, I can't help but think that the pandy was this, it literally was what Hand of God things in contracts were made for. Like, you have this sort of out in most big contracts that's called like event of God or hand of God or whatever. It's like there's a clause in most contracts that like if the most ridiculous, absurd things happen, like, you know, a global pandy, then you can get out of a contract that way. And so I don't know exactly what was communicated to her. They're claiming it was nothing. Maybe it's a thing where they were like, hey man, pandy, it is what it is. We had to try to make our money. We're, you know, accountable to our shareholders. This is what we got to do. And legally, I think we're safe. Who knows, dude? It's crazy. But regardless, massive story here. I got to know what you guys think about this. Let me know your thoughts. Is there something I'm missing? Is there an update to the story? Please let me know. And as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.